Coming up on today's show.
When I worked, after I got my degree in engineering, I worked in manufacturing, and it was making processes more lean and efficient, and it just kind of naturally transferred over into organizing.
When it comes to a office, how would you, those 4 piles, would you have physical containers for those or trays, or is this just something that once you decide to straighten those out, you're just doing it on the spot?
Because some people are very date-oriented, some people are very project-oriented, some people are very theme-oriented. So it really depends on how you think about it.
The Lean Home, today on Keeping You Organized. Hello and welcome to Keeping You Organized. Today we're going to apply some engineering principles to your home. And now I know we usually have professional organizers. We're not going to let you down. Certified professional organizer Amy Tokas, welcome to Keeping You Organized.
Thank you for having me.
Well, and now the T's and the connection there, you also were an engineer. And I know if people go back to, I think it's our first podcast with you, we talk a little bit about that. But we're going to talk about the lean home, that lean technology that you hear in manufacturing. But we're going to apply it to the home. So you kind of need to have an engineering background. How did you kind of make the shift from engineering into professional organizing?
It's interesting. A lot of people ask me that question, but it is actually related. When I worked, after I got my degree in engineering, I worked in manufacturing, and it was making processes more lean and efficient. And it just kind of naturally transferred over into organizing and just working with people in their homes and their offices to make things more lean and efficient and eliminate waste. And identifying what is being wasteful, whether it's time management or stuff that's causing the problem or whatever it is. But the engineering background just easily made me very aware of how to look at processes and evaluate them.
Now, when you go to engineering school, is this lean methodology something that's taught in a classroom? Kind of is, and I know we're going to adapt it for the home. So. How does that work together?
That's a really good question, and I should probably research the answer to that.
You mean you're just making all this up? No, just, yeah.
Back when I was in school, there was no lean methodology. At least I never got educated on it. And that was my major, was this production and manufacturing engineering. So I don't know. My guess is now that it is very much part of the curriculum because it's very mainstream. I was studying quality, business law, and all those things as part of it, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of lean as part of the education now.
Well, I know also that, a lot of companies like Toyota and some of the Japanese companies really applied the process. And
yes.
So usually there's like, an acronym or some kind of, there's 4 or 5 of these or that that are associated with a process, right? Because we're talking about a systematic approach to getting better at something. So
yes.
What are our steps here to apply it to the home or to organizing yourself?
One of the most well-known methods is the 5S method. And it did originate in Japan, and it's kind of the basic beginning point. And I think there's some other methodologies, but the 5S is really a good standard to start with. And it's pretty simple. It's in layman's terms, the 5 S's, and actually in everybody's terms, the 5 S's are sort, straighten, shine, standardize, and sustain.
Okay. Well, can we take those and kind of pick them apart one by one and
sure.
Maybe use examples from the home too here, we're at that time of year when people are trying to get things organized. And so let's start with the first S and maybe go a little deeper with it.
Okay. The first S is sort.
Okay.
And that's and here's the funny thing is professional organizers are doing this for everybody, and they don't even realize that they're doing the 5S methodology. So they're going to love to know that they're helping people with this. So the first step is sort. And usually when we work with anybody in their space, we identify what's keep, what's trash, what's donate, what can be shredded. We're sorting through and making decisions on all of their items. Then getting rid of anything you don't use. And then the other thing is scheduling things. That's my big thing with sorting. So a lot of times when we sort, we come across things that need to get on calendars.
Right.
And we'll have reminders of appointments, whatever it is, but sorting through it and dwindling it down and identifying everything.
Well, I have this imagery in my mind because we were just featured on the Designing Spaces show on Lifetime, and
cool.
we helped this wonderful lady get her files organized, and I can see her. She's on the floor sorting, getting what am I going to get rid of? What do I need every day? What do I kind of need but want to hold on to long term? So I think you're right. I mean, that sorting is really the first step and really something that we can apply to, whether you're just going to go in and try to tidy up one room or, take on a bigger project.
Yes, sorting is the very first step. There's a couple of obstacles to sorting, and I'll give you a couple of things that will help. Having a parking lot helps. If you're at your desk sorting, a lot of times when we dive into something like that, we think of other things. So we come across that reminder, and instead of saying, okay, this is in a pile to put on the calendar, or, oh, that reminder reminds me I need to email somebody. So having a notepad nearby and having it as your parking lot of email so-and-so, instead of stopping what you're doing and going off and emailing, you just stay focused on your sorting. And the other obstacle is things that belong somewhere else. So we go through the sorting and we know we want to keep it, but it doesn't belong in that space. And having a basket or anything to stick all of the things that belong somewhere else in, instead of actually leaving the space and going to put it somewhere. Because if you do that, you get distracted along the way and find other things and you forget about your original project.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw an interview with David Allen from Getting Things Done. And, he's got the whole idea of you take everything, you put it in an inbox and you sort it from there. But someone asked him, well, you do a lot of traveling. How do you take your inbox with you on the road? And it was neat. He said, well, in the outside pocket of his suitcase, he has a file folder, which acts as his mobile inbox. So I think it's brilliant. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. All right. So is that everything to do with the first S, sort?
Sorting. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Great. All right. Well, let's move on to the second S then.
Okay. The second S is straighten. And so once you've sorted through everything, it's then prioritizing the location of items. You'll have your pile of things that you want to keep. And then we sort them by the next action. So like if you're in your office, you have this whole pile of things you need to keep. Your next action would be, these are the things I need to read. These are the things I need to pay for. These are the things I need to file. These are the things I need to shred. That might be your action piles. And then prioritizing the location of those items. So making sure everything that you use all the time is nearby, and then things that you don't use very often is further away.
When it comes to a office, how would you, those 4 piles, would you have physical containers for those or trays, or is this just something that once you decide to straighten those out, you're just doing it on the spot?
So that's a really good question. It depends on the person.
Okay.
So some people will want a tray on their desk and they'll want it labeled to read. So whenever they get a newsletter, a magazine, anything that they're just going to read for information, they can put it in that basket. Some people will do good with hanging files. They can have a reading file. They can have a file that says to file. I know that sounds kind of crazy.
To file, right? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But a lot of times things pile up waiting to be filed. And so if we just have a place to drop it, then when it gets to be a larger bunch, we can go and do that. So straightening is really, in the home, it's the exact same thing. Having a home for everything and a place for everything, and having it in a point of use that's easy and it's not all spread out. Because if you spread it out and you have to think, okay, my scissors are, and you have 5 locations it could be, then you're spending a lot of time looking in those 5 locations for your scissors,
Right.
which
Well,
are probably in your child's bedroom.
yeah, yeah, all 5 pairs of them. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, and part of that is, the discipline of trying to, put things away when you're done with them. I know that's probably another podcast on habits, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that would come with the sorting, though.
yeah,
When you sort down to the things that you actually use, and then it's easier to keep it straightened because you've minimized your drawers are easy to open
right.
because they're not stuffed full. And so the things that go in there they fit in there nicely and there's no obstacles to getting them in there.
All right. Well, we've done the 2 S's. We're going to take a quick break. When we're going to come
Okay.
back, we're going to definitely get through the other 3 S's of the 5S
Okay.
system, because we're going for the lean house here today on Keeping You Organized with Amy Tokus from Freshly Organized, and we'll be right back. When you've got it together, everyone can tell. Your confidence is obvious. Introducing Viewables.com from Smead. Use the Viewables labeling system to transform your drawer of hanging files into a tidy, organized filing system. Using the premium hanging folder tabs, see the label from the front, top, and back. It's easy. Access Viewables.com from any computer, tablet, or internet-enabled smartphone. Let's make some labels. It's free, and there's nothing to download or install. Choose the label type and format your label just the way you want. You can even add index characters or icons for distinctive filing. Set up a free Viewables cloud account, and your secure login lets you save your projects for convenient access from any computer. And with Viewables multi-purpose labels, you can use one label for any type of file, including hanging folders, top tab folders, super tab folders, or oversized items like notebooks and file boxes. Upload a list of file headings and print your complete set of labels in moments. There's even a library of templates for commonly used label sets. It's never been easier to set up neat-looking files that have easy-to-read headings and efficient color codes. Obviously organized. Viewables.com. From Smead, keeping you organized. We are back now on Keeping You Organized, talking about the lean house, how to apply engineering principles of incremental improvement to get your house exactly organized the way you want it to be. And with us is Amy Tokus from Freshly Organized. Amy, also an engineer from the past who takes these principles. We've come up with the well, you didn't come up with a 5S system. It's a known system. We covered
Right.
2 of the S's, so now we got to get into S number 3 of this 5S system.
S number 3 is the one that I dislike the most, and that is shine.
That wouldn't have anything to do with cleaning, would it? No.
Right, it's cleaning.
Oh, no.
But here's the deal. The good news is once you sort and standardize, then you have less stuff. And so less stuff means less cleaning. It's easy. I always talk about people who are dusting shelves. If you remember back in the 80s in my life, and what I knew in the 80s, I should say, there were lots of little knickknacks for home decoration.
Mm-hmm.
And now things are a little bit more streamlined and we don't have as many knickknacks. But I remember dusting shelves at my mom's house, and there would be lots of knickknacks all over and having to lift everyone up and dust underneath. Now, if there's less stuff on the shelf, you pick up the one item, dust it, and you're done. So less stuff means that you have less cleaning, and then that means you have more time, which is very important.
Well, are you an advocate of scheduling your cleaning time, or trying to, how do you just get into a routine of cleaning, I guess, is the best way to maybe ask.
Okay, so I have to say I'm a really big delegator of cleaning.
That works in your house. It doesn't work too well in our house,
Yeah, my 4 kids are very much the chore masters, and not the masters, I should say. I make them the masters.
Yes.
But, and so, yeah, we're on a bit of a schedule because we work around when everybody has time to do it. But it varies household to household. Sometimes on a Saturday morning when we're supposed to do chores, the house may be fairly clean. I'm looking around at my house. it might be fairly clean, and we might be able to just do a few touch up things. And then there's other weekends where it's like, okay, we need to wash the screens this weekend, and
Yeah.
it's a big chore thing. So we're kind of on the fly, and it's not real regimented, and but it gets done.
I this reminds me of my one daughter who's supposed to do the vacuuming. Finally, we ended up getting one of those robotic vacuums where, you just set it on the floor and it knows its path. It actually works pretty good, but she has less responsibility, although she's supposed to supervise now the robot that's doing her job. But that's probably another discussion for another podcast too. But
Totally.
all right. Anything else on shine before we move to S number 4?
No, I
Okay.
think that's it. That
All right.
looks good. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. What's number 4 then?
Number 4 is standardize.
Okay.
So, we were talking about the scissors and having a place for it, having a standard place for everything that makes sense. If you have 5 places for your scissors, then let's recognize when you're thinking about it, where's the first place you're going to look? And that is probably your standard home for them. Okay.
Okay.
So doing stuff like that, file names. I mean, we go through file names and standardizing how we name our files. Our computers are crazy. If we can standardize how we name our files on our computer, it'll go a really long way to finding everything. Color coding.
Let's talk about, because in color coding, I was just waiting for that, but
Yeah,
back to the file.
You know me.
Yes, back to the file naming. Do you have kind of a standard convention? Because we get asked that question a lot too about, how do I label or file my folders? What's a good way to do it?
I work a lot with people and I ask them how they think about it, because some people are very date oriented. Some people are very project oriented. Some people are very theme oriented. So it really depends on how you think about it. If you're theme oriented, color coding might work well because you can have, your green files for your money situation, like any bills or financial statements or anything like that. And then blue could be for your health. And so if that's more of your theme. I also get the question about alphabetizing your files.
Yes.
Which I know you guys get all those good questions
Yep.
too. And again, it's really by person. Some people think in alphabetical order and it's easier for them to process. And then some people think about the items that are the most used, they would want close to them. And those 5 files that they use all the time, they want to be able to grab them. So, there's no right or wrong way. It's just making sure that it's easy for you to find it and it's working for you.
Now, for those 5 files, you just name them AAA dash something, right? And they're right at the front of the drawer.
Right. You know what? I actually do that on my email folders.
Okay.
Because if I need something that starts with a Q and it's down at the bottom, I'll put a number on it, a 1, and then the name of it, or the A, or I usually do numbers because numbers come before the letters.
Okay.
And that'll pop it up to the top. So I always have it there.
All right. Standardization. So that's number 4. How about the 5th S?
Okay. The 5th S is, what's the 5th S? Let me see. I got my notes. Oh, sustain. That's a good one. So sustain is, it's just maintaining.
Okay.
And usually 5 minutes a day at your desk works, maybe 10 or 15 a day at home. Making sure you're getting everybody involved in sustaining is really important, especially at home. I work with a lot of women who feel like the weight of their home is on their shoulders, and they feel like they have to sustain everything and maintain everything. But delegating is really huge to the success of the home. And, like you have your daughter or the robot vacuuming, whatever, having everybody included in the house and maintaining and sustaining will make it easier on you and also make it happen a lot better.
Here's a little tip that we use at our house for the younger kids. They can't go out and play, the 4 o'clock after school time until they've cleaned their zone, whatever it is.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and that's, so there's only two things, play and iPads that really leverage what motivates them. Other than that, I've run out of ideas.
Yeah. And
You
you
know,
know what? You said their zone. Part of go back one to standardize
yeah.
is a great thing for a zone. If they're in charge of a zone, is having a checklist.
Yes.
Make sure, especially for kids, so they know that cleaning the bathroom includes these 5 things. And not to skip one of them that they don't like to do.
It brings up another home story here. This is home story day here.
Go for it.
The one daughter doesn't think cleaning the bathroom includes cleaning the floor in the bathroom. That's supposed to be for someone else who does floors.
Right.
I don't know. We're working on that one too.
I know. You gotta. It's constant training with these kids.
But at least if you can get them to do something, that's a big plus right there.
Yes.
Great. Well, I think we're about out of time. Before we take off, I want to just give you the opportunity to talk about Freshly Organized, what you do, how people can get a hold of you, what kind of customers you'd like to hear from. I know you're in the Omaha area, but do you work outside of there as well?
Yes. Good question. I do some virtual organizing for out-of-town clients, but really I am working with executives down to stay-at-home moms or anywhere in that range, business owners. I have a couple of other organizing consultants that work with me, and we're covering Omaha, and we're trying to help organize Omaha and anybody else who needs it. It's really fun. And it's a great life. It's a great job, and I love it.
It beats engineering, right? But it is engineering.
Yeah. I liked engineering. I have to say I liked it. I like this a little bit better because I can set my schedule, and I get to meet a lot of really wonderful people doing this.
Right. And it's freshlyorganized.com. Right?
Yes,
awesome.
It is. Thank you.
Well, Amy, as usual, great having you on. I'm sure we'll hear from you again. And folks, there you have it. Your home should be lean and mean, or at least lean, not too mean. But the 5 S's, and we'll have all this information in our show notes as well. You can see that at smead.com/podcast. And until next time, John Hunt here for Keeping You Organized.